What's up, everybody? I'm Josh Meek, the Uber Geek. Welcome to Pretty Dece, your daily entertainment and pop culture show. Today on the show, I just got back from the theater having seen Black Panther, and I am itching to tell you every little detail about the movie. It was truly, truly fantastic. Unfortunately, I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as I possibly can because this is a movie you need to see yourself. So if you didn't have plans this weekend to go check out Black Panther, make plans. Definitely make sure you get a chance to go out and see this film because it is truly, truly fantastic. So I will try to be as spoiler-free as I possibly can when I tell you about this movie. But obviously, if you want to know nothing about it, then go see it first and come back and check this out. But really, I think at this point, I'm definitely prone to hyperbole when I like a movie, but I'm here to tell you that I think that this is actually true. This is the best Marvel movie to date. I hold a lot of the Marvel characters very dear to my heart. I love almost every movie that Marvel has put out up to this point. Most of them are incredibly good, but this one I think takes the cake up until this point. This movie is almost perfect in every single way. There's not a thing that I would change about Black Panther. The first cool thing about Black Panther is that it's a movie that kind of stands on its own. You can go into this movie not knowing anything else about any other superhero, about the Avengers, about anything else that's going on in the grander world with, Thanos or Iron Man or Captain America. And you can enjoy this as a film. If this didn't have the Marvel property and they were just, approximating the general Black Panther story, this film would be just as strong. There are no Avengers in this movie, and the majority of the movie takes place in Wakanda, the African nation where Black Panther is from, where he becomes the king of. And it's really awesome that it gets to create its own world, it gets to form this own universe that removes itself from New York and Spider-Man and all of the greater stuff that's going on out there in the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It carves its own chunk out and really gains an identity because of that. This is the most unique, the most standalone film that Marvel has ever produced. And that's including Guardians of the Galaxy, which also has its own very unique tone. Things like Ant-Man, which definitely head off in that direction with humor. This feels like a movie that honestly that Marvel didn't make. It feels very different than other Marvel films. When I left the theater in this film, it felt important. It felt like I had seen a capital I important film. And it honestly felt so good that I didn't know how to even begin talking about it. I didn't know what to say. I was expecting to see a really awesome superhero film, and instead I saw a really awesome film. Superhero movies are good. This movie was good and had important things to say as well. In general, the movie started out and it seemed like it was going to be a regular run-of-the-mill superhero film at parts. They jet set to South Korea very quickly to go after a villain, but then they end up back in Wakanda, and the majority of the film takes place there, revolves around the interdynamics of Wakanda and the outside world, and the interdynamics of the individual tribes in Wakanda as well. And Wakanda is a wonderful character in and of itself for this film. It is gorgeous. Wakanda is an African nation that is incredibly wealthy and incredibly confined to their own ways. They're hidden away from the rest of the world. No one knows that they exist in the manner which they do, with this incredible technology based on vibranium, this near magic metal. But when you get to Wakanda, they have skyscrapers, they have insane hologram phones. They are a metropolis, but they are kind of this African themed metropolis, and huge props to the set designers and the costume makers on this film because everything pops, everything looks amazing. Every time the camera just turns a direction on the street in the city, you want to know everything about everything that you see see on the screen. I would watch a 10-hour movie where they just explore the streets of this incredible Wakandan city that they have created. So Wakanda becomes its own character in this film. It has its own, things going on. All these different people are at play. And the people of Wakanda are also an incredible, fantastic cast of characters. This film has a lot to introduce you to in a matter of 2 hours as you're sitting through it. They have to tell you about Wakanda. They have to tell you about all of the political structure within Wakanda, all of the important people there, how they interact, what their allegiances are. And they do it deftly, and you don't feel like you are being dictated at. They show you how all of these things work together, which is really impressive that they get all of that done. By the end of the film, there is a confrontation where allegiances are tested and people are changing sides and people are showing up to help that you wouldn't have expected. And you understand exactly what's going on in all of that because they have very expertly kind of told you where all of these allegiances are going to fall as the movie has progressed. It's very, very, very impressive. The individual actors here are also incredible. Every single performance is an absolute treat to behold. The just laundry list of incredible performances that these fantastic actors put on in this film is honestly, it's too many to list. Almost everyone in the main cast is perfect for the role that they're in. Obviously, this movie has a really awesome thing to say about Black culture, and it's a very important film for that. I'm not the man to speak about that, but lots of people have written about the importance of this film for that. So go check those things out. One thing that I want to point out is that this movie does a really awesome job of portraying women. Most of the Wakandans surrounding the King T'Challa are actual women, and they're warriors. They are there to protect and to fight and to defend Wakanda. Yet they're also, filled with humor and love, and they're not sexualized in any way. They feel like real human beings, and they make decisions that real human beings would do. And it feels like a breath of fresh air. There's no, like Black Widow who's there just to look nice, anything like that. Everyone feels like they are serving a purpose. Everyone feels like they need to be there to be a part of what Wakanda has to offer. It's very, very impressive. While we're talking about the individual actors and the roles that they play, let's touch on the main villain. Michael B. Jordan's performance is absolutely incredible. He creates this villain. He is a villain character that is very sympathetic. There's a point in the film where you will almost be brought to tears over something that happens in Kilgore's life, because of what's happening with Kilgore. I love a good villain that you can understand how they get from point A to point B. They're not just pure evil. They're not just doing things to watch the world burn. You see how they ended up where they are. It might not be the decisions that you made, given the same life circumstances, you might not have ended up at that point, but you can at least understand how they got there. Those things make the best villains, and Kilgore here is perfect for that. You understand the tragedy that he went through in his life. You understand how he got to where he is, and at his core, he is searching for belonging. That's really what Kilgore wants. He's going about it in the incredibly wrong way, but while he does it, he's incredibly interesting. And that's really, at his core, he just wants to find a place to belong. That is really one of the core themes of the film, is finding belonging. There's a character in the film that wants to kind of be outside of Wakanda, wants to be out in the world, feels like that Wakanda is not her place, and she struggles throughout the film with finding where she belongs. Does she belong at home, closed off from the rest of the world? Does she belong out in the world as a whole, helping people? that is kind of threaded throughout the film is belonging, that concept of belonging. Other, core things to pull out of the film, the concepts of morality and responsibility. Spider-Man is, of course, the Marvel hero that loves to talk about great power and great responsibility, but Black Panther is a hero that absolutely lives it. T'Challa takes over as king in this film, and he's the king that everyone, wishes is who is in charge of your country. He is kind-hearted, he thinks before he speaks, and he strives to always do what's right, even when it's not the easy solution. There's a point where he becomes kind of incredibly angry in the movie for something that his dead father did, years ago in 1992, and he just can't get over the fact that his father didn't do the right thing, because that just seems unfathomable to him. There's a line in the film that was also in the trailer that it's his father speaking, that you are a good man and it's hard for a good man to be king. And that is the perfect encompassing of T'Challa as king, as Black Panther. Superman is often called the Boy Scout, but really, T'Challa is living all of those Boy Scout personal ideals. He really cares about his responsibility to his people, but also to those that he loves, and then to the greater world as a whole. That weighs on him. What should Wakanda's role be in the world? Should they be closed off? Should they open their borders and start helping? So he really kind of lives those ideals that a character like Superman might also try to portray. He does a fantastic job of being a great representation of that. I love in this film that T'Challa is kind of that moral rock throughout the movie, and I like that we get to watch him kind of struggle with this as we go. Someone who maybe isn't quite as morally strong would have an easier go at being king, but there's a lot that T'Challa struggles with as he kind of works his way through. So, again, there's a lot to say about Black Panther. That is just kind of the tip of the iceberg for this film. It was, again, absolutely fantastic. A very important movie. There is going to be a lot to talk about, so definitely go see Black Panther. I would love to check it out again, and definitely at some point I would love to have a very spoiler-filled discussion of Black Panther. So that might be something that we do down the road, or that I talk about on an upcoming episode of Pretty Dece Director's Cut. We'll definitely see how that goes, and I'm going to be reading as much as I can about Black Panther as well. So go see the film. It is absolutely amazing. That is Black Panther. And that's going to do it for Pretty Dece for today. Thanks very much for joining me. Make sure to like Pretty Dece on Facebook, facebook.com/PrettyDeceShow. Follow me on Twitter @PrettyDeceShow, and visit PrettyDeceShow.com. I'll be back tomorrow for another daily episode. In the meantime, make sure you hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel, in the podcast, and on the Anchor app so you never miss any of the content.